Welcome to Kindness Stories, the channel where real moments, emotional journeys, and heart-touching stories come alive. Today, we are going to tell you a story that begins as a simple encounter at a car window, but turns into something unforgettable. It's a story that reminds us how life can surprise us when we least expect it, and how the people we pass by might hold secrets we could never imagine. It was a bright but restless afternoon in the city. Traffic lights flickered from green to red, and cars lined up along the busy road. Among those drivers was a man named David, who was in a rush to get back to work after his lunch break. His car was spotless, polished, and filled with the scent of new leather. The air conditioning hummed softly, creating a world completely different from the dusty and crowded street just beyond his window. As the light turned red, David's car slowed to a stop. He tapped his fingers on the steering wheel impatiently. That's when he noticed movement on the corner of his eye. A frail woman, wrapped in worn-out clothes, was moving between cars, holding out her hand. She was a beggar. Her clothes were torn, her hair was messy, and her steps seemed heavy with exhaustion. Her hands trembled slightly as she knocked gently on windows, pleading silently for some spare change. David had seen beggars many times before. Most of the time, he avoided eye contact, convincing himself that giving money might not help them in the long run. But that day, something inside him made him pause. Maybe it was her fragile figure under the burning sun, maybe it was the way her eyes looked down as though ashamed to ask for help. Whatever it was, David rolled his window down slowly. The woman stepped closer. But when she lifted her face to meet his eyes, David froze. His heart skipped a beat, and his breath caught in his chest. That face, it wasn't the face of a stranger. It was familiar, unforgettable, impossible. For a moment, the city noise disappeared. The sound of horns, the chatter of street vendors, the blaring engines, everything faded into silence. David just stared at her. His mind raced back years into the past, to memories he had buried deep. He knew this woman. He had once laughed with her, shared dreams with her, and celebrated life with her. This woman was Anna. Anna had been one of David's closest friends in college. She was full of life, always smiling, always inspiring people with her energy. She was the kind of person who walked into a room and lit it up with her presence. They used to sit for hours, talking about future plans, careers, families, and dreams of success. But after graduation, life had taken them in different directions. David pursued his corporate career, and Anna followed her passion for art. Over time, they lost touch. And now here she was, standing outside his car window as a beggar. David's mind refused to believe what his eyes were seeing. He tried to speak, but words felt heavy. His lips parted slowly. Anna, he whispered, almost afraid that he might be wrong. The woman blinked, startled. Her lips trembled. For a second, she didn't respond. Then her eyes filled with tears. David, she replied in a broken voice. It was real. It was her. The world around them carried on as usual. Cars honking, people crossing the street, vendors calling for customers, but for David and Anna, time stood still. David immediately parked his car by the side of the road and stepped out. He walked toward Anna, ignoring the impatient drivers behind him. She stood there, her shoulders trembling, her eyes unable to meet his. He gently placed a hand on her shoulder. What happened to you? He asked, his voice filled with both shock and sorrow. Anna tried to smile, but her face revealed years of pain. Life, she said softly. Life happened. They moved to a quieter corner, away from the rushing traffic. David could hardly recognize her now. The vibrant girl he once knew was now covered in layers of hardship. But beneath those lines of struggle, her spirit still glowed faintly. Anna began to share her story. After graduation, she had pursued painting. For a few years, her art sold well, and she lived happily. But then her mother fell seriously ill. Anna spent all her savings on medical treatments. When her mother passed away, Anna was left with nothing but debts. Her art career collapsed, and she struggled to find steady work. She married a man who she thought would stand by her, but he left her when she needed him most. With no family left, no home, and no stable income, Anna ended up on the streets. David listened, his heart breaking with every word. He could not understand how someone so full of dreams had been broken down by life so cruelly. Tears welled in his eyes. Why didn't you reach out? Why didn't you call me? He asked. Anna shook her head. Pride. Shame. I didn't want anyone to see me like this. I thought I could fight through it. But I was wrong. David took a deep breath. No, Anna, you were never alone. You had friends who cared. I care. For the first time in years, Anna felt seen, not as a beggar, not as a stranger, but as the friend she once was. That night, David made a decision that would change both of their lives. He could not let Anna continue like this. He brought her home, gave her food, clean clothes, and a safe place to rest. At first, Anna resisted. She felt undeserving of such kindness after all she had lost. But David reminded her that no one deserves to be forgotten, no one deserves to suffer alone. Over the next few weeks, David helped Anna slowly rebuild her life. He introduced her to friends who could support her, found opportunities for her to restart her art career, and encouraged her to believe in herself again. The journey was not easy, healing never is. There were days Anna felt hopeless, days she wanted to give up. But every time she faltered, David reminded her of the strong, passionate girl she had once been. Months later, Anna stood in a small art gallery, her paintings displayed on the walls once again. The colors on the canvas reflected not just her artistic talent, but also her journey through darkness and light. People admired her work, some even purchased her paintings. She smiled genuinely for the first time in years. David stood in the corner, watching silently. He didn't need thanks. Seeing Anna rediscover her strength was more than enough. The story of Anna is not just about chance encounters. It is about how life can change in an instant, how success can fade, and how hardship can strike anyone. But more importantly, it is about the power of kindness, the courage to step in when someone needs help, and the belief that no matter how far someone falls, they can always rise again with support and love. When David rolled down his car window that afternoon, he had no idea what awaited him. He thought he was just reaching out to a stranger in need. But instead, he reconnected with a lost friend, and in doing so, changed a life forever. Every person we pass on the street has a story. Some carry invisible battles, hidden pain, and untold struggles. Sometimes, a small act of kindness, a coin, a meal, a word of encouragement, can be the light that guides them out of darkness. And sometimes, just sometimes, rolling down your window to a beggar can reveal more than a stranger. It can reveal someone you once knew, or even someone who might become a friend. So the next time you find yourself at a red light, or walking past someone asking for help, pause for a moment. Remember this story. Remember Anna. And remember that behind every face is a story waiting to be heard. This was today's story from Kindness Stories, a channel dedicated to reminding us all of the simple truth: kindness is never wasted. If this story touched your heart, make sure to subscribe, share, and spread the message. Because in a world where we can be anything, being kind is the most powerful choice of all. And who knows, your small act of kindness today might just change someone's life forever.